Hello. This is an overview of energy types in the human design system. So in the human design system, you have 4 main categories. You have a 5th when you start to pull one of them apart. So we're going to look at the 5, okay? You've got, as an overview, you've got generators, plural, both pure and manifesting. You have pure manifestors. You have projectors, and you have reflectors. Each of these different types describes how they use energy, okay? Kind of in this top-down approach again. Generators and manifesting generators, both of them are sacral defined. Sacral in the human design system is this red center here, this square one down here. This represents the seat of energy that is capable of perpetual motion. Think of a train that is run on coal. The more you put coal in it, the more it puts out steam, the more it keeps on moving. That is sort of that energy function of the generator, is that life force energy that moves through them and gives them a perpetual energy that they use on a daily basis and that they recharge when they go to sleep. All of the generators make up of about 70% of the population, and that's sort of split half and half between pure generators and manifesting generators. The difference between pure and manifesting is pure generators have no definition defined through the throat, where manifesting generators have a motor that has a direct definition through the throat, and they're sacrally defined. So in a sense, you can see them as being motor mouths. They have the energy to maintain communication in a regular way, where pure generators do not have that constant access to energy in the way of being able to speak and carry on conversations. So, for example, they can get tired easy. They can run out of steam. They can be very extroverted and then all of a sudden be, whew, I'm tired, I need to go shut down and be away from people. So they're not necessarily going to have that same kind of energy for peopling in that communication way as manifesting generators might. Manifesting generators and pure generators' strategy is to wait to respond. As we get into more of the details around each of the different types there, we'll find that they have more strategy involved. But the basis of it is to wait to respond. So that means they're not initiating. They are not jumping in and blazing off to go start projects. They are waiting to respond. Sometimes they can be responding to spirit, and I'm not pointing at my head as though I am pointing to my mind. I am pointing to my head currently because that is where I receive information from spirit, Anjana to voice, and in that inner hearing sort of way. So for me, that's sort of a natural thing to reach up there. But don't think that it's from your mind. You do not want to be responding from your mind. You know, you have these little voices that say, oh, you should go do this. You should, you should, you should. To should on yourself is to shit on oneself. So don't be shitting on yourself or others. What you're looking to respond to if you're a generator is something that makes your sort of like your inner cauldron, your belly area go, ooh, You can most obviously notice that a generator has energy for something in the quality of the sound that comes out of them. And when it's coming from their belly and they have energy for something, their energy is very deep, very full. Their voice is sort of deep into their body. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's low pitched if they're a high pitched sort of person, but it does mean that they have a where if they don't have energy for it, you're going to hear more of a or a it doesn't have fuel in it to make it go, right? Where if something's like yeah, I got this, and you can sometimes even watch their body as their body is like filling with this energy to do the thing that they're trying to do. A note about the voice and listening to your own truth is that if you answer something in a that's a head answer. That's not a sacral answer. A sacral answer is either going to be a non-answer, as in it can't produce a resounding yes or a purry yes. The best way to tap into sacral yeses and nos is with no language, is with sound only. So it's practicing answering yes and no questions with only sound. So like someone asked me, do I like chocolate? Mm-hmm. Do I want chocolate right now? And what I'm doing is I'm not thinking about it. I drop my awareness down into my belly and I listen to the question from down there, and that gives me my answer. It tends to be instantaneous. It's not a ask it and wait to see what happens. It's a very much sort of in the moment sort of deal. Those who are not used to listening to something other than what their head is telling them may have a really hard time in the beginning identifying what their yeses and nos are. They might like ask something and get like, I don't know, I should eat. So, notice what I just did there. The ending was higher pitched than the beginning of the I lied. I did not share. Well, actually, what I did was I was very transparent. I said that I gave you a head answer, not a sacral answer. And so that's really the most easeful way to understand generators, is that they either have energy for something, and if so, it is like tends to be rather enormous, or they don't. And what they need to be working with is moving towards only responding to the things that light them up. It's a wait to respond. So notice that's a two-step strategy right there. First you wait, then you respond. It doesn't mean that when you finally respond, you do so half-heartedly. You do so with all of your being, or you continue waiting. Learn to become patient in the waiting, and life will feel much more full. Because the waiting is that plateau right before the experience comes in that is what you're meant to rise up to. So when you don't have a yes, that is your time for rest. That's an easy way of looking at it. Rest and growth and introspection are beautiful things to do when you don't have a yes. And yes, for some that might mean well, but I have to go to work, or I have to go tend the children, or I have to. Yes, we all have have-tos. In that have to, we also get to make choices. No matter where we are, no matter who we are, struggle can be optional. It depends on how we're putting ourselves into the process. Okay, so for projectors. Projectors are around 20% of the population. And they are open sacrals, so they have no sacral definition, and they also have no motor to the throat. There's 4 different motors in the human design charting system. The motors are in the blue, so they're the 4 blue dots. So we have the root at the bottom, the sacral up here, the solar plexus, or as I like to call it, the emotional center, and the will center, or the ego center. These are the 4 different motors. Each motor has a different way of using and providing energy. And we're not going to get into that right now. There'll be a separate video on motors. But with the projectors, they have no motor to a throat defined, and they have no defined sacral. That's how you can know that somebody is a projector when you're looking at their chart. Their strategy is to wait for the invitation. And so here's kind of what that looks like. With projectors, they have an immense amount of wisdom to offer, guidance, orientation, coordination. They're very good project leads. They can, they find solutions to things all over the place. Their biggest trouble is that oftentimes people are not in a position to receive their advice, their guidance. And if they aren't, they immediately reject it. And so then projectors have a not self-definition that is one that is based in bitterness. It's a flavor of anger. It's a flavor of being like, well, you have a problem, but you don't want a solution. And so their feeling is, it goes beyond frustration, and it's not quite anger. It's sort of a resentment that they feel in life. Much like with the generators, they have a not self definition of frustration when they're not using their energy correctly. Bitterness can be what the projectors can feel. So for projectors, waiting for the invitation. Now, waiting for the invitation, invitations can come from spirit, invitations can come directly from people, invitations can sometimes be sensed, invitations can also be self-governed, self-instigated. But it's really important to look for that invitation. Now, when I just talk about invitation, it's not just, please would you do this? Think of an invitation as an open door. An open door is an invitation to come in, to walk through. And so it's more like looking for the opening, looking for the open door, looking for the receptivity, looking for the invitation to deliver what it is that they have to share. And one of the ways that the generators can work well with the projectors is to go and recognize what they have to offer and go ask them for their offerings, go ask them for their gifts. Because truly projectors are here to help to guide, help to offer solutions to things. And if we're not looking for solutions, if we're not open to solutions, then their value just sits around waiting and collecting dust. So let's invite them more. Let's spend more time with them in that way. Manifestors. Manifestors are about 9% of the population. They are a direct motor to throat connection. And they have no sacral defined. So they are motor mouths, but they do not have that energy aspect that makes them kind of like vibratory and exciting to be around. It is more of a, I'm going to go do this. And that's really what manifestors are here for. They're here to initiate. They are here to start things, to do their own thing. And so it's not wise for them to get wrapped up in what other people are doing. It's wise for them to dig deep into themselves and go, okay, what am I here to do? What am I here to start? How am I here to create a better way in life? Their strategy is to inform before they act. And here let me explain why. Because they don't have that generator warm fuzzy glow, they tend to have this get out of my way, I got shit to do sort of way about them when they get into a flow of something. And when that happens, when they accept their greatness and they start to really go out there in the world and they do that thing, their energy pushes people out of the way. There's a repelling that happens in their aura, which is basically it's a fancy word of saying how you feel around someone else. So sometimes manifestors can have this almost unapproachableness to them. They aren't not approachable. It's just how the energy mechanics feel. And in a sense, they need people to not be all up on their grill all over the place because they need to go. They need to go do the thing. For them, informing before they go and do something makes their relationships with people much more happy, because those that do love manifestors feel very hurt when a manifestor just goes off and does something without ever talking to them, without sharing with them what's going on, basically informing them of what they're going to do. When they find out about it and in the after fact, when they find out about it afterwards, they feel discarded, disregarded. They feel ruffled. And so in order to make that way smooth for the manifestors, informing of what they're going to be doing to the people that they value, it's very important for them to be able to keep good relationships and keep doing what they need to be doing. Many manifestors in the world are not living up to their greatness because they have been shamed out of it. Mostly the shame probably for them came from not informing, and so thus hurting others and having others being upset at them, and then not wanting to have that, I'm always making someone upset. And so they make themselves smaller rather than just do that piece of This is what I'm going to be doing. This is what I'm going to be doing. Hey, I need to go do this. Hey, this feels strong for me. I've made this decision. I need to go do this. It may still have a bit of a ruffling when people are like, well, where did that come from? But at least it's not blindsiding them. So manifestors, please inform those who you care about, those who you want to keep close to you. Inform them of what it is that you're going to be doing. And do it in as gentle and as beautiful way as possible without being diverted from what you know you need to do. It's a tough call. It's tough to both stay big in your shoes and to stay confident, and also to explain to people something that might make them not happy. Remember, their happiness is not your responsibility, okay? You are not responsible for everybody else. You are responsible to your energy type, to informing before you do something, to keeping good relationships, and to being who you are without shying away from it. So there's a delicate balance to be had. Reflectors. Reflectors have no definition in their human design chart in the centers or in the channels. Channels make up centers. So when there are no centers defined, there are no channels defined, and that's only about 1% of the population. It's a very, very small percentage. Reflectors are the advisors in the human design system. They are ones that take in all the energy, and because they have no defined way to interpret it or respond to it, they take it in, they take in little bits of what's going on, and they reflect back what they are around. So some of the strategies that exist for reflectors, one of them is to wait a full moon cycle. Okay, what that really means is to wait a set period of time to determine for yourself through time and repetitive feeling into something or sitting with it or letting it be, to see what is going to be good for you. Not every way of functioning is going to be healthy for you. Not every person that you're around is going to be healthy for you. Not every relationship you're going to be around is going to be healthy for you. And the reflectors are only going to know over time. All of the open centers need time to process what is going on. It's how they learn from their wisdoms. It's how they learn from their lessons. Lessons become wisdoms when we understand them. And that's really the key, to turn lessons into wisdoms, to file them under your wisdom bank as opposed to your lesson bank. If you're tired of learning lessons over and over again, if you're tired of, feeling like life is throwing stuff at you right, left, and sideways, then start looking for the lessons embedded in the experiences. And that may help you to discern who to spend time with. Reflectors are very influenced by their environment. It's one of the reasons why they say that they are a good oracle for the tribe that they are with. If they are in a good tribe, a solid tribe, one that communicates, one that lives from their self, not their conditioning, then they are going to be a beautiful reflection of the people that they are around. If they're living in a very unhealthy dynamic, they themselves will be unhealthy inherently, because they are picking up the energy of what everything else is. And if you're picking up garbage and you're eating garbage, you're not nourishing yourself in the best way possible. So for reflectors, taking a good note of who they are around and choosing their companions very wisely would be another strategy that I would say would serve them very well. It's not to say that reflectors are good, bad, or another way, just like any of the other types. It's a way of looking at that energy. And so reflectors have no defined way of having energy. They are open in that sense. They have the ability to amplify the energy around them, and they also have the ability to have absolutely no energy whatsoever. And so wherever they are in that process, they need to really be able to embrace and let go of that societal expectation for how they're going to feel, how they're going to use their energy, what they're going to be able to do, how they're going to say it, all those things. Reflectors have a hard task in front of them where they have to let go of so much conditioning. They don't have any definition to embrace. Theirs is purely a job of releasing conditioning over and over and over again. And so each one of these types has deep and profound things to experiment with. Strategies to be able to follow, ways of being able to understand how they work in the world. And look around you at the different types that exist in your world. Look at your own chart. Watch and see how you interact with a projector, a manifestor, a pure generator, a manifesting generator, a reflector, and reflect on what it is to be humans that are analyzing and studying to the point of acceptance of how we work in this field of energy. Talk to you later. My name is Rainey Ford. I'm an herbalist and inner cartographer, founder of Nematon and Mountain Woman Medicine. If you are interested in purchasing herbal medicines or discovering your inner mapping, please visit my website in the description below. Have a wonderful day, beautifuls.